back and we got James. And I don't know, I'm going to have to figure out a way to cut it in here, but your wife helped you set up the Zoom. Dude, you are out of your league, my man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better now. I appreciate that. Thanks very much. It makes me feel real good.
Yeah. So you're an airplane pilot, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And how long have you been riding moto, and what got you to Rob's program?
Well, let me see here. I've been riding moto. I'm 47 now. I've been riding moto since I've been 14. And I just been with Rob for the past 3 years. I was following Rob on social media, and I saw one of his emails, I believe, on his or something on his website saying they were looking for some, people to help, riders to help. And I sent him a resume, and the rest is history. The past 3 years have been great.
Dude, that's awesome. Isn't it funny? Because I was, talking to Rob, and I did a lot of somewhat training in my, throughout my career. But then when I talked to Rob, I'm like, Jesus, if I had this information 20 years ago, how different would it have been? I mean, did you have that moment when you started working with him?
Oh, yeah, totally. It's funny because we were riding yesterday at my house, and I was just telling my buddies, I was like, man, if I just knew what I know now when I was even 30, I would have been so much better. And it's just, it's crazy. Being 47 now, I'm just trying to really grasp it and not waste it. I don't want to waste another opportunity because heck, I could be done riding next year. Who the heck knows? So I'm just trying to make the most out of it and learn as much as I possibly can and just make the best of it. It's pretty fun. It's exciting. Makes me feel like a kid again. So it's cool.
So you're aimed at Loretta Lynns again in the vet classes this year. And dude, I was looking at the results, and I don't dare to go ride those vet classes. You guys are just animals, man. It's like a damn near a national out there. If you just took the names and posted it and didn't say what year it was, that could easily be a national of years past. Does it bum you out, or does it make you happy to go race with those guys?
No, kind of both. I mean, like with Rob, I have to be realistic with my results, and I'm not going to beat Mike Brown, Ryan Hughes, and those type of guys. And I see them, like I see Brown a lot during some of the local races, and it's kind of cool, and a lot of people love it, and they're like, oh, that's awesome, you get to be on the track. It's like, well, I see him for a minute, or not even a minute. I see him for a couple of seconds, and I got roosted to death, and then I blink my eyes. I'm like, well, where'd he go? But I mean, that's real cool. But during the national event, it would be nice if I was racing against just all the classes were just purely the amateur, where it's like, okay, I'm racing against this guy who's a carpenter and he's got 3 kids, and this guy is a pilot or whatever, a plumber or whatever. And it's a little bit more realistic like that, but I get it. Those guys want to race and everything. And I mean, if I'm fortunate enough to be lined up next to them, it's pretty exciting, and it's pretty cool. So,
Yeah. See, I'm kind of torn on it. Rob's pretty adamant that they should have their own class or exhibition if they've been a pro. I disagree. I kind of like it. I don't like how they bend the rules, or what they've been referred to me as suggestions. I don't like how they do that. I would prefer a class where it was set. Okay, I can go against amateur guys who haven't scored a point, or guys who have scored a point, and separate that clearly. And I don't know. I don't like the bending of the rules, but I do like the sportsman thing. And I don't know. What's your thought on that?
Well,
Rob's shaking his head. He clearly wants to get in on this.
What I don't love is it seems to change every couple of years. It's like plus 45 was a sportsman's class, and that was good because it was like, okay, it's an older class, and I'm like, all right, well, now they just changed it to plus 40 is now the sportsman class. So now I'm like, well, shoot, I'm already close to 50, and now I'm going to be racing against, yes, it's other sportsman guys, but now they just turned 40. So it's like, I don't understand. I don't necessarily get the change. It's like, let's just leave it the way it is. And then if it's a local event, when it's a local event, if you're racing against ex-national guys, and that's what it is. But then you go to the amateur national and it's called amateur national. And then I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's
yeah, it's not, I mean, there's a place for those guys in the vet nationals, which is at Glen Helen. And this is the amateur national. I mean, you got a good point there. So yeah, I don't know that I can argue that.
If I appreciate that they have the passion to still race. You know, I mean, I think that's awesome. You know, I think it's real awesome, but it's just, you know, I'll never, there's things that they know that I will never even get in my career of racing. I'll never even get to that level or even have that thought process. It's just completely different. I appreciate them wanting to race, but it's just, I wish it was just strictly pure amateurs, you know, in the vet classes. And if they need to have a class for themselves, then just have a full class for themselves. And it brings the crowd and everybody gets to see them and they get to race. I don't think it's really, how much fun can it be for some guys to just blow by you and just, they're going at 70%. And I'm out there doing 99.9%, scared to death that I'm going to, you know, crash. So,
yeah,
anyway,
I have to say, it looks like Brownie's having a good time out there.
Yes,
Coach. Oh, Coach, you're dying. Like you're gonna burst if I don't get to you and let you just say something on this before we move on to this. I got to talk about your best results too, James. You did really good. So
yeah, and I with James in regards to, I totally understand that having the X Pros come back is an incredible exhibition race. I think it needs to stay in that category. Even if they let them race a 2 or a 3 lap race every day for the benefit of the spectators, I understand that it's a huge draw. It's a huge attraction, which I think is awesome. Like James said, I love the idea that they're still healthy enough to be able to race. All that's cool. I have a brother that's a professional baseball player, or was, and I refuse to play catch with him because he knows how to throw a ball that I can't pick up on. And like, for example, I'll be playing catch and he'll throw a ball and it's a sinker ball and he hits me in the balls and he thinks it's funny and it hurts like hell to me. So I'm not going to play catch with him because I can't read the threads the way that a professional baseball player can be. So I'm way out of my element. And all I'm trying to say, I guess I haven't said a word about it. The thing that I just get confused about is there's going to be things that the X-Pros have done in an experience that the guy who's raising a family and doing the other things that's never experienced that, you're comparing apples and zebras. And then to try to combine those is just confusing to me. I'm not a race organizer. I'm sure there's a lot of thought that's been put into it. I personally wouldn't want to race against somebody. It's just like, I don't want to go play baseball. I don't want to go play soccer with someone that was a professional soccer player. They're going to eat my lunch.
Hold on.
And quite honestly, it just takes the enjoyment out of it. I'm not whining. I don't want the listeners to think that we're bemoaning and complaining. You know, James is probably one of the most pit bull racers I've ever met. It's not the lack of, oh, well, I'm just going to be lining up against XYZ, right? It's the principle of it. We're just, I mean, let's reverse the order. Let's take somebody and put him in James's position and go have him fly a fighter jet. They can't even begin to relate to what he's been through and has done in various conditions. So, and I don't know if that's going to resonate with the listeners or not. No. I just know growing up with a professional baseball player, I knew I would never be in that league to even be able to play catch. So I'm not going to go do a pickup game at the local field. I'm not going to go do a pickup game with an NBA player that's going to smash me because he can predict where I'm going to go because he's already been at that level. And I think that's what we're trying to get across there when we look at the frustration levels. This isn't a dig against the promoters, the organizers, or anything else like that. As much as it is, I think it needs to be its own standalone class. That's all. Yeah,
you lost me back at zebras and apples.
Yeah, well, like you say, you vehemently disagree with me on this. You think they should be allowed to race, but I just disagree.
Well, I like the sportsman thing. I just don't like that they changed it. Like if it is what it is, it's this class. We know it for the next 3 years. Yeah. You specifically can't move it down. We're not getting younger. We're getting older. So that's, if you want to move it up, I can almost understand, but you can't go backwards with it.
Well, and the only thing that I want to say on that thread of thought is, and again, we are not we're not complaining. I'm not into redistribution of wealth. I'm not into everybody's a winner.
Zebras and apples.
Well, Rhino and Brownie and anybody else that's going to be towing the line has got a much quicker phone call to get parts on a bike that I can't even get access to. And then you're going to bring that and race against somebody who's working 60 hours a week. Again, I'm not saying every life has to be fair, but I can't get the same parts no matter how big my checkbook is. Mitch Payton's not going to sell me the same parts as an ex-pro. And I'm not calling Mitch out. I'm just saying, just for illustration purposes. So that's another level that's a little bit like, really? I mean,